Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, worshippers of all ages, welcome to YouTube. My name is SeaRaptor, and it's time for more Scuttlebutt. Game this week is Tier 9 Premium American Destroyer USS Benham. Now, this is Benham's second test version. If you keep up with such things, you know that when she was first brought into the public testing, she had Benson torpedoes, 55 knots, 9.2 kilometer range. Benham's unique in that she's essentially a high-tier American torpedo boat. She's got 4 quadruple launchers, 2 on each side of the ship. But I really struggled with that version of the ship. I'm an American destroyer fanboy. I love this line. I love almost every single one of these ships. But I really struggled with those 9.2 kilometer torpedoes. Even, you had lots of them, but I had a game where I literally fired 100 of those things. I'm not making this up. 100 something, 108 or whatever, and I landed 0 hits. Making those 9.2 kilometer 55 knot torps work at tier 10 was really challenging. So, towards the end of the last week, Wargaming published a server update, which is interesting. I guess they've got a way now that they can tweak these ships on the server without having to publish a client update, or there was a very small client patch and I missed it. But either way, they changed their torpedoes. They're now nearly Fletcher torps, 10.5 kilometer range, 65 knot speed, and about a 15,000 point alpha damage hit. Yes, the alpha damage is lower than Fletcher, and even less than she used to have with the Benson torps, but it's necessary to help keep the ship in balance because she can spit out so many more torpedoes than she used to. So anyways, enjoy the game. This one kind of comes down late, but I won't spoil it for you. So what's happening in shooty boats? Well, of course, next week will be the big 8.4 patch, dropping on Wednesday, the 29th of May here on NA. And because we've seen that, we've had 2 rounds of public testing, we've seen the test bulletin, I'll put the link down below, but we've got a pretty good idea what's coming in this patch. Of course, the full deployment of the Russian battleship line will be here upon us. The next stage of the victory event will be here. That's been running very well now for several weeks. A new collection will come with the next stage of the event, and a new map based on Greece and the Aegean Sea. Easily the biggest change that's being discussed that I'm looking forward to seeing come to life is a nerf to carrier plane speed. Well, really a nerf to carrier engine boost mechanics. I think this is going to be a far bigger change than a lot of people suspect. At least one of the reasons that anti-aircraft feels so bad right now is because planes, especially high-tier planes, don't spend enough time in it. They're so quick. AA bubbles really stop expanding significantly at about tier 8, right? You can see a progression, tier 5 to tier 6 to tier 7 to tier 8. But by the time you get to tier 8, most ships, not everybody of course, but most ships have about a 5.8 kilometer-ish anti-aircraft bubble. At tier 9 and 10, a handful of ships get a larger AA bubble. But very, very, very many do not. They're stuck with that 5.8. But the planes don't get any slower, do they? They actually go the other way. Many of them get faster. So by nerfing the boost speed, in theory, CV captains will not only will the attack interval between squadrons dropping on your ship be a little longer because they won't be able to boost for quite so quickly. But planes should, in theory, spend a little more time within a ship's anti-aircraft bubble, because it's a very common tactic for carrier captains to either boost on the way in with a torpedo run, or with a rocket or a bomb run to try and boost on the way out to spin around to try and get another wave off. So that you should get a little more damage, right? It may only be a tick or 2, but who knows? Over the course of a long enough game, those ticks add up. And that's really, like I said, it's one of the reasons that A feels so bad. People are used to getting plane kills, but right now, especially if it's a full squadron, they're just getting damage. And honestly, certain ships that should absolutely murderize airplanes simply aren't getting that done the way they ought. And Wargaming knows that, but I feel like that this change is a step in starting to balance that equation out. So we'll see how it goes. Last big news for the patch, of course, a new season of Ranked is going to start right after the patch drops. Should start on 30 May, if I read the article correctly. That's next Thursday. We're going back to Tier 10. Carriers will be allowed in Ranked now, 7v7, 1 carrier per team. And there was much rejoicing. Yay. I know of exactly 0 players, all the people that I know that I've spoken to, that are excited about this season of Ranked. And it really bums me out because last season of Ranked really surprised me with how much fun it was. I was super stoked for more Ranked. I wanted more Arms Race. I wanted more Tier 9. But we're getting this instead. So we'll see. I'll be trying some of this on stream just to say I've done it and to showcase it to folks. But I honestly don't believe I'm going to be able to stomach this for very long. We'll see. I was surprised last Ranked season as well. I've been wrong before. But the power of Tier 10 aircraft carriers right now, I'm highly skeptical. There was a Reddit thread that caught my eye today that I wanted to highlight, and the title of it is this, and I'm quoting this. Quote, "Does anyone find it weird that Wargaming hasn't meaningfully addressed the discontent in the community with the CV rework?" End quote. And the original poster goes on to offer 5 possible reasons that they feel that this to be the case. Let's have a look at those real quick. Their reasons are... I gotta go find the thread. Of course, I tabbed away from it like a dummy. I had it open, telling myself, hey, don't leave this, but of course I did, so here we go. Here it is. A, they don't care because spending hasn't materially declined. B, they don't know what to do and don't want to talk to the community until they do. C, they know fixes will take a long time to program and test and don't want to talk until those are deployed. D, they view any decline in spending and engagement as minor issues which will blow over. Or E, they view any loss of business of veterans as normal churn, which will be replaced by new revenue from console and Steam source players. And then, of course, there's an F for just other, whatever other invented reason you can think of. Now, Sub-Octavian, to his credit, joined into this thread. And I gotta give him a lot of props, because I don't think that I would have done it. The way this question is worded and the way a lot of the early responses, it was obvious Reddit has become a hate wargaming group, essentially. We hate wargaming support group in a lot of ways. But Sub dived into this thread and actually engaged a couple of people in some really interesting conversation. It's kind of a long and spiraling thread, a lot of interesting viewpoints, mostly about the challenges of quantifying fun, right? Because what's fun for one player may not necessarily be fun for another. So how do we quantify it? And I think Wargaming, to their credit, knows that they're not going to make a game that is fun for everybody. And the players that enjoy it and either have fun and loot and quit having fun or aren't having fun ever are obviously not going to stay. Like, that's just the nature of the beast. To me, I think it's sad to see how some of these guys talk to him, right? Like Sub, and I've said this before, and I'm going to keep harping on this because it bothers me, right? But Sub is such a valuable resource, right? These guys already ran him off of Reddit once, right after the carrier. We had a month where we had none of this interaction, and I missed it because it's always valuable to get the insights into what the dev team is thinking and doing. But frequently, when he comes over to engage the community, they mock him or call him a liar. And I don't understand this. Like, I'm continually baffled why so many people seem to think that Wargaming hates this game, or just, them in particular, right? Like, they've been singled out. The idea is bizarre, but I don't know. It's weird. The discussion, however, amongst the people that don't take that tack is actually pretty good. So I highly recommend you go read it and maybe develop some of your own opinions. And if you want to contribute to the conversation, go ahead, because that's probably a thread that Sub will go back and read over. There was a big stream today from the EU community team, Chrysantos and Mr. Conway. And, of course, the World of Warships executive producer, Evan, joined in from St. Petersburg, full of lots of good announcements. We're going to detail 2 of the big ones, but I'm pointing this out because if I heard correctly towards the end of the stream, there's going to be another one of these tomorrow from the Russian community team that's going to highlight some additional things that weren't discussed today. So we'll have to wait for our Russian-speaking friends to help translate all that for us. Actually, that stream should be happening today by the time this video publishes, so keep an eye out, especially if you follow Wargaming on Twitch or YouTube. So the big announcements, of course, are they announced a new game mode in a post-apocalyptic setting. This will be very interesting. This is kind of harking back to the last Halloween event. It's a battle royale style. We had an event during the last Halloween that tested this with the shrinking engagement zone boundary. This version of the event, though, will be destroyer only. Special ships, kind of like in space battles, right? So we'll get event ships that are only good for this particular type of battle. And these ships start with no consumables, but apparently we'll be able to earn them over the course of the battle. We're not told really how this will happen, just that it'll happen. There'll be mechanics or zones. Like, maybe it's like arms race. You sail through a zone, you pick up a consumable. I'm not sure just yet. Not a lot of detail, but it sounds interesting. It's not mentioned in the article, but they did mention on stream. This is going to be 4 teams of 3 or 4 players each. That wasn't clear, but there are 4 teams. So this is not a Team A versus Team B. This is Team A, B, C, and D all vying for top dog, king of the hill, if you were. So the idea sounds intriguing, and I'm curious because I'm one of these people that believes that new game modes are never a bad thing. And I'm really looking forward to the day that they get more of our operations and co-op kind of back to where they were before the CV rework. So yeah, new game mode's a good thing. The other big thing, of course, they announced 3 new test ships that will be coming to this live server. We don't know when, but presumably with 8.4. Given that they're making this announcement right before 8.4 hits, that seems logical, so we'll see. The first is Tier 9 German supercruiser Siegfried. Now, Siegfried, when you first look at her, you're like, hey, that's a Gneisenau now with more freeboard. And you're not far off, right? She is the same main battery. 3 double turrets of 380mm guns with a 26-second reload. She has a 20.6 kilometer range, but get this, she has cruiser dispersion and cruiser sigma with 380mm guns. This could be... Okay, I'm intrigued, right? Bizarrely, she has far better AA than most German cruisers, with an outer ring that stretches out to 6 kilometers. After the rework in 8.0, all German cruisers had their AA hard capped at 5.2 kilometers, the shortest in the game. Why is this? I don't know. I'm still waiting for an explanation. We'll see. She does have the same 8-kilometer torps as Graf Spee and 2 quadruple launchers, one on each side of the ship. She's got kind of Iowa top speed, 33.5 knots. She does come with high-tier German hydro or defensive fire, your pick for that particular slot, plus repair, and then her choice between fighter or spotter plane. Now, this one sticks in my craw sideways. She has a 15.1-kilometer base surface detection. So a battle cruiser with 380mm guns is actually stealthier than Hindenburg. I don't know whether to be excited or insulted by that bit. But, yeah. So we'll see. She intrigues me, right? Like, the super cruisers, I did not care for Azuma. Stalingrad, I have a bit of an odd relationship, but I really, really like Yoshino. So maybe something about the class is starting to grow on me. We'll have to see. I'm looking forward to testing this one out, because deep down, I am a little bit of a wereaboo. I'm not a militant wereaboo, but I really do enjoy most of the German ships in the game. Next on the list is Tier 9 Pan-European destroyer Friesland. Now, if I understand correctly, this is a Dutch design and is in fact the first confirmed Pan-European ship in the game. They started talking about the Pan-European line like last fall, last winter, but this is the first time they've actually come out and confirmed, yes, we're doing this, it is happening, here's a ship, here's the flag. I expect Verbis Unitas to end up in this nation, if you want to call it that, as well. So it's the sort of thing that's always been kind of hinted at, but never, like, explicitly stated. Now, Friesland is a very odd dog, an odd duck. She is a torpedo-less destroyer with only 2 turrets of twin 120mm barrels. Well, gosh, that feels awful. Now, on paper, it does, but these 120mm barrels have a 1.8-second reload time and a 12.3-kilometer range. So that is a whole hell of a lot of shells, kids. She also gets American smoke. So, like, literally 2 minutes of smoke that she can camp out if she wants to, plus defensive fire and hydro. We don't yet know how good the hydro is. They don't tell us. I don't know if it's probably not German hydro, but is it British hydro? Is it somewhere in between? We don't know yet. And her AA scheme, like on paper for a destroyer, looks pretty punishing, and she comes with, like I said, she comes with defensive fire. I'm curious. She'll be tested as Polish and then eventually released as a pan-European ship. I'm nominally curious about this ship, right? Like, I love destroyers, but a torpedo-less destroyer, I don't know, man, because, like, what keeps most people from charging a destroyer in his smokescreen? Well, he's got the trump card. He's got torpedoes. This guy doesn't. So it sounds like at first glance he'll be really, really good at murdering other destroyers that he can spot, maybe decent at capping, but not very good at keeping ships from pushing him, swatting him out of the way when they really want to be somewhere because he lacks that punch. So we'll see. Looking forward to testing this one. And last was announced today was Tier 6 British aircraft carrier Ark Royal. Now, of course, this is the iconic carrier from the Hunt for Bismarck, and she's coming to the game at last. Long rumored, long suspected. We knew they had to do this, essentially, sooner or later, as they added the British carriers into the game. At first glance, she looks to be a British take on Japanese carrier Kaga, with huge squadrons of weak planes, including the storied Fairy Swordfish that did ultimately disable the German battleship. But these are pretty good squadron sizes for Tier 6, right? She has 9 attack planes in a squad, 6 torpedo planes in a squad, and 9 dive bombers in a squad. But I think she's going to struggle a bit when up-tiered to Tier 8. Now, that's not really shocking. Pretty much every Tier 6 carrier in the game struggles when up-tiered. But I think it's going to hit Ark Royal a little harder because her planes are artificially weaker intentionally weaker than many of her counterparts at Tier 6. I mean, Tier AA is pretty brutal. Even Coggle will struggle against certain targets. I mean, she'll get her attacks off, but her losses will be just extreme. Not catastrophic, but she'll lose a ton of planes. The big selling point on paper when you comb through the stats looks to be her attack aircraft. The attack aircraft have the most health, they reload the fastest, and they fly the fastest. They have the highest base speed of her 3 different squadron types. So again, this will be curious to test. We'll have to put her through her paces and see how she does. Anyway, link to that particular blog post is down below. Go check that out and read up on all the numbers at your leisure. So, winding down here with Benham, things are kind of coming to a close. We are eventually going to lose this game. A couple of things towards the end sunk us. I made a bit of a bad tactical decision to chase the Shokaku, thinking foolishly that those points would help. I also was not expecting the Asashio to get torpedoed, literally sitting in the B cap. Like he went AFK or disconnect or something. And of course, we weren't helped because from the beginning, we had an AFK Lexington on our team who earned all of about 40 XP here at the end or something along these lines. It was just bad. So, but anyways, Benham is a very, very good ship. These torpedoes are very usable, and I definitely am looking forward to getting my hands on more of this ship. I'm not sure if they haven't said what she'll be for yet in terms of how they'll release her. We'll keep you guys apprised when they announce all of that. All right, guys, that's it for the week. I do appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Be safe out there, and I'll catch you next time.